Welcome, Classics Dynasty League, and all of our other listeners out there, to another episode of the Down South Fantasy Football Podcast. This is take two. We had some technical difficulties, didn't realize it until about 15 minutes into the podcast. So I'm going to be going back through everything I talked about, hopefully still getting across all the points that I wanted to in the first place. Going around sports real quickly, other than the NFL, we got college basketball starting. Had that Tuesday evening. Kansas looking very good against Michigan State. And then the talk of the town, the Duke Blue Devils, who had the top 3 recruits from high school on their team, just putting a shellacking on Kentucky. Zion Williamson, everybody's saying, oh, he can dunk, but can he shoot? His first collegiate shot, three-pointer, swish. I'm still not a firm believer. Guy weighs 285 pounds. Right now, he would be the second heaviest player in the NBA currently. Just don't think that with the way he jumps, the way he plays, and that weight, I don't think he's going to have a long career unless he slims down. Other than that, college football, we had the college football playoff rankings. Week 2 come out. A little shuffle in the top 4. You have Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame moving up to 3, and Michigan moving in to that 4 hole. You had LSU losing. They dropped to 7, which, I mean, they got 2 losses. They can't compete for the SEC championship, so why have them in the top 10? I'd put them at 12, something around there. Then they can creep up if they win a couple nice games to end the season. Other than that, not too much controversy other than Central Florida staying at 12. They had a way too close game against Temple. The only game that looks semi-decent going forward for them is playing Cincinnati in a couple weeks, but that's still not a great team. Very soft schedule. Everything else is pretty much par for the course. A lot of teams controlling their own destiny. A lot of teams hoping that the teams in front of them lose. Should be interesting the rest of the college football season. I'm sure we're all going to be watching that very closely, looking for the players who we want to draft next rookie draft. And then the last bit of sporting news, my men's basketball league had a game last night, got the W, moved to 3-2, won by about 15. I was clear on my way past 30, possibly 40 points until the 10-minute mark when I went down with a rolled ankle from some jabroni that was clearly gunning for me since I had 25 points already. But I got out of there, decided to sit the rest of the game, live for next week. And just like that mindset, you got to live for next week in fantasy football. So going over the recap for last week, I went another solid 3-2, 8-1 for me through the first 9 weeks. What that means is 8 weeks I've been over 500. 1 week I was 2-3 under that 500 mark. So if anything, if you guys have lost interest in this for some reason, if you think you don't have time for it, I'd say at least listen to the predictions because more often than not, they're going to be right. So, getting into last week, you know where we're starting. Myself, right-handed destruction, trying to climb into those playoffs, gets the W against my guy Tucker, 140.04 to 133.52. Again for me, coming down to the last game, Sunday night game, not Monday night game, but my man Josh Gordon, 24 points. He's getting that connection together with Tom Brady. Helped that Gronk wasn't in there. I will give you that. Other than that, I had the Vikings go off for 22 points, and my dude Kareem Hunt, 3 tutties, 32.6 points. Good to see David Njoku get back on the board after a goose egg in week 8. he put up a respectable 11.3 points. For my guy Tucker, obviously had a great performance from Alvin Kamara, 31.6, and O.J. Howard had an awesome 23.3. I'm sure he was hoping for a little more from Kenny Golladay, especially with Golden Tate not in that offense any longer. And also, you're kind of expecting Antonio Brown to get over those 20 points. Mike Davis filling in for Chris Carson. That's a pretty decent pickup. He had 14 points there, but still not enough for the right hand of destruction. Game 2 that we're looking back at, we got, barely even a game. Built for the Future takes down the E-Walking Dead 133.7 to 79.86. I mentioned it last week. The E-Walking Dead was just hobbled by buys and injuries. In his lineup, he had Dallas Goedert, who was on a bye, and then he had Gronkowski, which he really didn't need, a late scratch Sunday night. And unfortunately, his team wasted a nice performance from Christian McCaffrey to the sound of 30.2 points. On the other side of the ball, you had some really great contributions from Matt Ryan, 29 points. James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, 25.8 points. Greg Olsen, 22.6 points. Greg Olsen, a lot of people unsure what he would be like coming back after his second foot injury in 2 years. Especially, he decided to opt out of surgery and come back. He's been nothing short of fantastic, just being a touchdown machine so far this year. Built for the Future, just still going strong and just taking people down by the wayside. Third game we're looking at is a pretty close game between Silverback Nation and Johnny I Want to Score More, 123.64 to 107.64. Silverback Nation getting an awesome performance from his quarterback, Jared Goff, to the tune of 30.34 points. Other than that, he had Keenan Allen with 21.2 points. Keenan Allen, that's really his first big week of the season. He's had a couple duds. It's good to see Rivers getting back to him. That offense is, I feel like they're a little underrated and underappreciated as a team as a whole. Their defense was supposed to be top-notch coming into the season. They've been dinged up, but they're getting better. Once they get Joey Bosa back, if they get Joey Bosa back, it's just another element for that defense and that team as a whole, who's really looking to get Rivers a Super Bowl before he has another 10 kids. On the other side of the ball, only person over 20 points, you had Nuke Hopkins, 26.5. He's really going to benefit from Will Fuller not being there because even though you got Demaryius Thomas, Watson he trusts Hopkins, and that's about it when it comes to the receivers. You could see him trusting Ian Thomas a little bit, their tight end, but even so, you don't really have a running back that catches the ball. Hopkins is just going to eat up targets, eat up catches, and he's going to be the one finding the end zone. The only other player close to 20 points for Johnny I Want to Score More, Aaron Rodgers, 19.16. Couple disappointing running back performances. Buck Allen, 3.9 points, and Mark Ingram, 3.1 points. Johnny I Want to Score More started out rough, 0-4. He had Edelman and Ingram on suspension. I'm sure he was waiting for him. He was ready to roll with them. Unfortunately, he dug himself in a hole, and he can't really climb out of it right now. So going forward, looks like he's going to have one of those top 4 picks again next year. The next game we're looking back at is the Staunch Moderates taking down J-Way Bala in a super close game, 125.22 to 121.06. Staunch Moderates, 20.32 points from Deshaun Watson and 20.20 points from Dion Lewis. To top it all off, his defense, the Bears, getting 28 points for him. Nice performances. Zeke, 13.2. You'd like to see a little more there. Aaron Jones, you're still not comfortable with him. He has a fumble. You don't know. He's still kind of splitting time with Jamal Williams, even though they don't have Tymont back there anymore. It's just very frustrating player to have right now. And then Kyle Rudolph, as I've mentioned, he's pretty much touchdown dependent. But on top of that, the Vikings just didn't have a great offensive performance. Their defense played awesome. That's why they got the big win. Flipping over to J-Way Bella, as I mentioned, Vikings, not a great offensive performance. Kirk Cousins, under 10 points. He does have Brandon Cooks go for 23.4, and Travis Kelce go for a, I guess, decent 32.4 points. Other than that, you got Thielen with 12.7. That's his lowest output of the season. His first game without 100 receiving yards. He did break the record for most 100-yard receiving games to start a season and tied the record for 8 consecutive games with at least 100 yards. Tied that with Megatron. Tough loss for J-Way Bella, but he's still in that 6th hole, which I'm really fighting for as I'm in the 7th hole, looking to climb into those playoffs. And the last game we'll go over is another blowout. Bo Leavenbell putting up huge numbers of 174, taking down Shooter Stab, 118.58. Bo Leavenbell, obviously, Patty Mahomes, 27.8 points. Tevin Coleman, welcome to fantasy football this year, 30.1 points. Really expected more from him when Devontae Freeman went down. This is his first really good game. He actually ran the ball very well, wasn't all catching out of the backfield. Cooper Kupp almost getting 20 with 19.9 points. And then Michael Thomas going off for 39.1 points. George Kittle getting the touchdown pass from Hanson, whatever that guy's name is, from Southern Miss, third-string quarterback, just destroying the Raiders for 22.8 points. On the other side of the ball, Shooter Stab coming up short. Cam Newton, 21.18 points. You had James White, newly acquired, for 25.3 points. Julio Jones finds the end zone and gets 25.1 points. Also, newly acquired, both of them for David Johnson. I would take James White and Julio Jones all day. David Johnson has better days ahead of him, but I don't think he gets back to his 2016 form. That offense just needs a major overhaul. By the time they get there, he maybe has one really good season left. I think he'll have a couple nice games the rest of the way, but to give up James White, who especially in PPR is catching the ball out of backfield left and right, and Julio, who now that he's got a taste of the end zone, maybe he starts kicking it up a notch. But another loss for Shooter Stab, another win for Bo Leave in Bell. Moving on to the next segment, the reason I started doing these on Thursdays is to go through the waiver wire. Busy waiver wire this week. We had myself dropping Raheem Mostert, who went on IR, to pick up Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Very excited to have him on my team. Young receiver, Geronimo Allison out for the rest of the year. He's had a lot of big plays already. Hopefully he can find the end zone a little bit. Also dropping Wendell Smallwood with the thought of Darren Sproles coming back, but find out today, Sproles tweaked his hamstring, is back to week instead of playing this week. And I picked up the Buffalo Bills. J-Way Bella drops David Moore of Seattle, picks up Big Ben. Built for the Future picks up drops the Steelers, picks up the Jets. Shooter Stab drops Dan Bailey, picks up Adam Vinatieri again. My guy Tucker drops Chris Ivory after his hospital visit, picks up Adam Humphries, who his snaps have been creeping up week to week. Next, you got E-Walking Dead picking up a kicker in Josh Lambo. Staunch Moderates dropping Taylor Gabriel, who has been a disappointment the past 2 weeks, especially with Allen Robinson not there. Expected a little more out of him, but not getting the production. Picked up Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end from Arizona. And finally, Bo Leavenbell drops the 97-year-old Frank Gore to pick up a defense in the Washington Redskins. Busy waiver wire, as I mentioned. A lot of teams on bye this week. So should be interesting with the plug and plays we got coming up. First game, looking ahead to Week 10. Built for the future against my guy Tucker. Going through the buys real quick. We got Built for the Future, Alex Collins, and Lamar Miller on bye. And on the other side, my guy Tucker has Justin Tucker, Houston defense, Stephon Diggs, Demaryius Thomas, all on buys. Going through the lineups, you got Matt Ryan against the Browns. Pretty decent matchup. James Conner going tonight against the Panthers. Panthers have a good defense, but James Conner has done nothing but great things this year. Todd Gurley against the Seahawks. Todd Gurley, his last 2 games against the Seahawks, he has a total of 7 touchdowns. I expect him to get, once again, at least 2 this week. Devontae Adams against the Dolphins. The Dolphins started the season with a very good defense, but have just been trending down since. Mike Evans getting the questionable tag against the Redskins. He'll be good to go, though. He's going to have a big week. Josh Norman kind of sucks, and, Fitzmagic, even if he gets benched, Winston's a gunslinger too, so they're going to have maybe 3 combined interceptions, but combined for over 400 passing yards, because they also can't run the ball. Then you got the 2 Eagles going up against a pretty good Dallas defense, and they also got Golden Tate coming into the lineup. So Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz, they'll probably see a little downtick in production. I expect it more for Alshon Jeffrey than I do for Ertz. I think Ertz and Wentz just have one of those white guy connections where Wentz is throwing it to him no matter what. On the other side of the ball, you got, and you're also looking to plug a defense in there, which he picked up the Jets going up against the Bills. That's a good pickup. The other side, you got big swinging dick Phil Rivers going up against the Raiders. Third-string quarterback put up 34 points against them. I think Phil's going to be fine. Mike Davis goes up against the Rams. Should be interesting, playing from behind a lot of the game, most likely. But Mike Davis has proven that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So, worst-case scenario, he's going to get some scraps in the passing game. Kamara against the Bengals. You love that matchup. The Bengals defense has been atrocious this year. You got Antonio Brown, AB, against a young Panthers secondary tonight that has been playing well, but still it's AB. You gotta expect him to get over 15 points. Golladay getting a tough matchup against the Bears defense. Didn't do much last week. Interested to see if he's a true number 1A wide receiver, 1B wide receiver, or if he really benefited more from Golden Tate being there, where he could play in the slot a little more, play in the outside, get the second cornerback, get the slot cornerback. It's still a work in progress there, so you're not sure what you're going to get. You got Leonard Fournette coming back also against the Colts, whose defense has been better. Not great, but better. I'm assuming that he gets plugged into the lineup there, and then either O.J. Howard or Jordan Reed gets dropped. Either one of those guys playing against each other. The Redskins defense has just fallen downhill lately, and the Buccaneers was already at the bottom of the hill. So that's just whoever he picks there, it's probably going to be pretty similar production. I got my guy Tucker here. Going with it. Built for the Future has the projected points, but I don't know. Just feeling it. Kamara is going to have a big week. Maybe Kenny Golladay pops off. I think Rivers has a better week than Matt Ryan. I can see James Conner being maybe not bottled up, but getting closer to 10 to 12 points than his projected 20. And like I said, Alshon, he get some targets taken away from Golden Tate. So I'm going with my guy Tucker. Lock it up. Johnny, I want to score more versus the Walking Dead, who welcomes back almost his entire team from bye. We'll start with the Walking Dead. We got Tom Brady against the Titans, who have been a pretty good defense, but they're definitely not a lockdown defense. They've played some bad teams, and that's why they haven't given up many points. But, Brady has enough around him. The run game's probably going to suffer more than the pass game because the Titans' rush defense is a lot better than their pass defense. Nick Chubb against the Falcons, it's a favorable matchup. Though if it is a shootout, which it probably will be because the Falcons are going to put numbers up, then Nick Chubb kind of doesn't get as much playing time, and they're going to throw Duke Johnson in there. You got Christian McCaffrey against the Steelers tonight. He's going to have a good game. OBJ against the Niners. He's going to have a good game. Deshaun Jackson against the Skins. Don't love it. Maybe plug Golden Tate in there. I don't know. That would be interesting. And then you got Ebram, who moves back to the tight end 2 with Jack Doyle coming back. Kind of goes back to touchdown dependent, which against the Jaguars, whose defense hasn't been great the past couple weeks, could turn it on at any time. And then you got Gronk, who knows if he's going to play from week to week. But like I said, probably pull one of those tight ends, put Golden Tate in there. He's going to get his catches for sure this week. Then Johnny, you got Aaron Rodgers against the Dolphins. That's a good matchup. Saquon against the Niners, good matchup. Mark Ingram against the Bengals, good matchup. Julian Edelman against the Titans, pretty decent matchup. Marvin Jones against the Bears, not great. Calvin Ridley against the Browns, not great, but their defense is out there a lot, so probably by the fourth quarter, they're going to be dogged, so he could get a big run and score there. Jack Doyle, I mentioned Eric Ebron before, comes back. I think he has a 12 to 14 point day. Maybe finds the end zone, has a couple catches. I'm going with Johnny here. He's had a rough start to the season, but his team with Buck Allen, Delvin Cook, Michael Crabtree, Nuke Hopkins, he's got a lot of buys, but he's got enough bench players that give him a decent floor, where on the other side, if Djax plays, he could be a bust. Chubb could be a bust. Ebram could be a bust. And there's just a lot of question marks on that side. So I'm going with Johnny here. Next game we're looking at here is J-Way Bella versus Silverback Nation. Buys here. J-Way Bella has Kirk Cousins on bye. Donta Foreman, who hasn't been active yet, on bye. John Brown. Will Fuller, who's on IR. And more than a Thielen on bye. On the other side, you just got Baltimore Ravens defense. So J-Way Bella starts Big Ben on a Thursday night at home against the Panthers. Not a great matchup, but definitely not a terrible matchup. He should be fine. That 16 points seems about right. Maybe gets up to 19, 20 points. Isaiah Crowell going up against a pretty good Bills defense. Also, you got Elijah McGuire, who has come back, and they gave him the ball immediately last week, coming back from a foot injury. Very interesting that that's what happened. You got Melvin Gordon against the Raiders. 21 points. He could get 30 easy. Marlon Mack gets a very tough matchup against the Jaguars. Plus, he is playing just over 50% of snaps, splitting time with Hines and a little bit with Jordan Wilkins. That 9 points could even be a stretch there. Really hoping for something here with Callaway. If he can catch the ball, he would be a lot better. He just has so many bad drops. It's hard to trust him, but understandable with the buys on the board. Brandon Cooks against the Seahawks. Seahawks aren't the defense they used to be. The only thing you worry about is Seattle bleeding the clock a little, being more run heavy. So the Rams not getting as much offense. But the other thing is the Rams are probably going to go up very quickly. And then Travis Kelce against the Cardinals, he's good to go. Silverback Nation, he's got Andy Luck going up against the Jaguars. They're throwing the ball. Their offensive line has gotten better, but they're a throwing team. They don't really have that big back that can pound 4, 5, 6 yard runs. They have Hines and Mack, who are more outside runners or catching the ball out of the backfield. So he's going to get his, but the Jags, as I mentioned, they could turn it on at any point, especially if Fournette back. I feel like when their offense plays well, their defense plays well, so it's a little contagious there. Should be interesting what the Colts defense can do against the Jaguars and Fournette. Kenyon Drake, you don't know what you're getting week to week. You like that you're seeing him getting about 16 touches now, especially he's getting about 6 or 7 catches. 10 points, that seems reasonable against a not-so-great Packers defense. Also, I think Miami plays from behind, so he catches a couple more balls out of the backfield. So that I see 10 to 15 points there. Joho against the Lions. Lions defense isn't great. At the same time, Joho's just having a tough year, and it's not really his offense. Tariq Cohen has been playing more, obviously, in the passing down roles, even though Joho has been relatively better in catching the ball than he has been. Then you got Keenan Allen against the Raiders. He'll be awesome. T.Y. Hilton against the Jags. Should be interesting matchup with him and Jalen Ramsey. I don't know. I really don't know how that's going to go. Juju Smith-Schuster gets a tougher matchup against the Panthers tonight. This is probably the most active Thursday night game we have had this year. A lot of guys playing with the Steelers and Panthers. And then you got Jimmy Graham, who, if he gets in the end zone, he's solid there. I like J.W. Bella here, even with the buys. Silverback Nation just has, as I mentioned earlier, he's just throwing body punches. He's trying to drag your team down. He could catch J.W. Bella at a good time with his starting quarterback and 2 starting wide receivers out. But still, there's a lot of question marks on Silverback Nation's side. He doesn't have the best matchups. So put it on the board. J.W. Bella gets a W. The 4th game of the week, we have Shoot or Stab against the staunch moderates. Shoot or Stab missing Phillip Lindsay and Latavius Murray to buys. And then on the other side, you got Ty Montgomery, not a big deal, and Kyle Rudolph to buys. I'll start with staunch moderates. Trubisky, terrible week last week. Only quarterback on the roster going up against a bad Lions defense. He'll be fine. I don't think he does anything spectacular. Between that 16 and 20, I don't see him going over 20 this week. Zeke against the Eagles. Eagles have a very good pass rush. Also good run defense. Zeke also hasn't been great this year. He's been fine. You got David Johnson against a better than what people think Chiefs defense. The tough thing here is the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind. David Johnson has slightly been more involved in the passing game, but they're getting the ball to Fitz a little more. And I just, that trade, I think Shoot or Stab. And it's the trade game, actually. So you got Shoot or Stab getting James White and Julio Jones for David Johnson. I'll take that all day, every day. And then you got Aaron Jones, who, as I mentioned earlier, can't trust him, especially with the fumble last week. Jarvis Landry, he's going to get his catches. Don't think he finds the end zone. Tyrell Williams or Mike Williams, flip coin. You don't know who's going to get the targets. You don't know who's going to have the big week. Looks like Sammy Watkins isn't going to play this week. Ricky Seals-Jones, Against the Chiefs defense, they're going to be passing. It could be a decent week for him. I could see him getting 10 to 12 points very easily with the 1.5 per catch there and yards. I don't know how many touchdowns this team's going to have. Maybe one this week. It's going to be tough for them to score. Rosen just hasn't been very good. No rookie quarterback has really been that good this year. Mayfield has been fine. But other than that, there's, all the rookie quarterbacks are playing like rookie quarterbacks. On the other side of the ball, you got Cam against the Steelers tonight, or you get Drew Bledsoe against the Bengals. I would play Drew Bledsoe, Jesus Christ. Drew Brees against the Bengals. I play Drew Brees against the Bengals, but that's me. You got James White in there. He's going to get his catches. He's going to get minimum 15 points. I think that 14 is too low. And then, I don't know. I mean, if Derek Anderson plays, I guess I go LaShawn McCoy in there. If Derek Anderson doesn't play and you get Nate Peterman, I'd go Austin Eckler against the Raiders to fill that other bye spot. You could put Tyler Boyd in that third, almost flex spot. Also, going up against the Saints, who haven't been great this year. Fitz against the Chiefs, that could be a decent play as well. Has some options. Julio against the Browns, he's coming off his first touchdown of the year. Going to be interesting if he finds the end zone again, which I think he does this week. Robert Woods against the Seahawks, good matchup. Just depends on whose mouth is going to get fed in that receiving corpse. Jared Cook against the Chargers, not a terrible matchup. 12 points. That's about right. Between 10 and 12, I don't see much more there. I see a close game here. You got, buys on both sides. I'm going to go shoot or stab here, even though he is projected 82 points to 115. You put two guys in there that are on buys, and you flip them out. That easily pops up to quick over 100. And then I think if you put Breeze in over Newton, even though Newton runs it, I understand that if you want to play him. I think shoot or stab takes this one. Lock it up. And the final matchup of the week. The game of the week. Right hand of destruction. And Bo Leavin Bell. Talking about the buys, we got Manuel Sanders and Minnesota Vikings for myself. On the other side, you got Kiki Kuti. Then you got Le'Veon who? And Sony Michel questionable. Gio looks like he's going to come back, so probably not questionable. And you got Bo Leavin Bell picking up the Washington Redskins defense with the Broncos on a bye. So you got Patty Mahomes against the Cardinals. What up, Mahomes? He eats. Tevin Coleman against the Browns. I don't think that's a good matchup for him. I see him getting less than 15 points. Mixing against the Saints, I think right around that 12 points seems about right. Saints' run defense isn't terrible, isn't great. I think Tyreek Hill, unfortunately, gets a long touchdown this week. Cooper Kupp, 15 points. I think he's more of either an 8 or a 17-point guy. It just depends, as I mentioned earlier, who's going to get fed in that offense. Michael Thomas going up against a terrible, terrible Bengals defense. George Kittle against the Giants. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but the Giants have not been good against tight ends in fucking years. So he's going to do fine. On the other side of the ball, you got Carson Wentz plugging him in there against the Cowboys. Kareem Hunt, my dude, against the Cardinals, kills it. Adrian Peterson could have tough sledding with 3 offensive linemen not playing this week, but it is against the Bucs, so 50 yards and a touchdown, 2 or 3 catches, I'll be happy. Josh Gordon gaining the trust of TB, I like it. Sterling Shepard against the Niners. I really think he has a big day. I think Evan Ingram. There just isn't much trust there right now. He's dropping balls. He's been hurt. I think Sterling Shepard has another 6 to 7 catch game, 80 yards, maybe finds the end zone. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I'm going with him over DJ Moore against the Dolphins, and I really like that matchup. I'm feeling over 100 yards and a touchdown. Njoku against the Falcons, he's going to cruise. If he gets more than one catch, then he's getting 5 catches. And that's it. I mean, I don't need to say any more. Right-handed destruction, taking down Believe in Bell after that week 1 loss we had. So that's the predictions for the upcoming week. Hot takes. I'll give you a hot take after I get the win this week. I get 2 more. I'm in the playoffs. I get to the championship game. I'm feeling really good about my team right now. I got a lot of buys behind me. Next week is going to be the last week that I really see anybody important on my team getting the bye. But with Josh Gordon coming around, AP really has helped me out this year. Valdez-Scantling could be that guy that helps take me to the promised land. So unlike the commish, who went with Derrick Henry being a top 5 running back this year, and there's no chance in hell that happens, I'm going to be right on my hot take. And that's all I got for you tonight. Good luck this week. Enjoy the great Thursday night football game. You also have NC State playing tonight, college football. Remember to watch them. Check out the guys for rookie draft next year. And until next week, I bid you adieu.